Hi there, my name is Joe Hanna, and I'm a board member of the International Speed Coaches Association, or the ISCA. Welcome to our very first video lesson, the first in a series of many in hopes that we can help educate, promote, and develop your coaching programs. We hope that you enjoy these video lessons, and in the future, we'll be able to bring you a wide variety of subjects to assist you in your training programs. Today's lesson is one of great importance and one that most coaches and athletes alike do not understand or even think about. It's called hyponatremia. Once again, it's hyponatremia. We'll start out explaining what exactly hyponatremia is. Hyponatremia is a disorder in fluid electrolyte balance that results in an abnormally low plasma sodium concentration. In layman's terms, your skater is low on salt and his muscles start shutting down and locking up. The sometimes hot and humid environments that endurance events such as the 10K, the 20K, and marathons are held at can contribute greatly to the success of an athlete finishing the race or not. This type of environmental stress, combined with an athlete's quantity and quality of sweat, can spell trouble for the athlete and is certain to result in hyponatremia unless a sound nutrition plan centered on proper fluid and sodium intake are followed. Some of the common symptoms in skaters are as follows: muscle cramps and tightness in the legs, feeling of heaviness in the legs, gastrointestinal discomfort, nausea and vomiting, throbbing headaches, restlessness, lethargy, confusion, even down to respiratory distress, seizures, brainstem herniation, and with going to the extreme, could even result in death. This is how important it is to work towards preventing hyponatremia. Many studies have been done on this common disorder, but more coaches have failed to recognize or prepare properly. One of the leading studies was done by Bob Seebahar, who is a sport dietitian and elite triathlon coach for the U.S. triathlon team. Mr. Seebahar has done extensive studies on the effects of hyponatremia. The risk of developing complications from hyponatremia depends somewhat on the measured level of plasma sodium in the body. There have been many studies that have measured these ranges during and after exercise, and although the physiological ranges of plasma sodium will provide the fitness professional an idea of the severity of hyponatremia, the numbers do not always tell the whole story. For example, athletes have survived hyponatremia when their plasma sodium concentration was in the severe category, and others have died when their levels were above the severe category. There is no rhyme or reason to this. However, understanding the condition in the athlete will definitely help. When working with an at-risk athlete, it is important to factor these variables into the overall nutrition plan. 1, the length of training or race. 2, the sweat rate. For example, are they a heavy sweater or a light sweater? And 3, the sweat sodium content. Is their sweat salty or non-salty? By knowing these 3 things ahead of time, the endurance athlete can implement strategies that will help reduce the risk of developing hyponatremia. Hyponatremia cannot be prevented during exercise, but the risk can be reduced by proper planning. Now, moving on to the causes of hyponatremia. There are many factors that can cause hyponatremia, but the most popular is excessive fluid intake and also the lack of sodium or salt. While some researchers believe that hyponatremia is associated with fluid overload, others believe it is associated with dehydration. What is important to realize is that the prolonged sweating can cause significant sodium losses and interdepartmental fluid shifts, as seen with fluid overload and dehydration both, and that may predispose an athlete to hyponatremia. The balance of fluid intake and timing becomes of utmost importance, which is what many researchers can indeed agree upon. The next part of this is prevention. Prevention of hyponatremia must include a combination of identifying if an athlete is at risk, and if so, educating them about how to properly plan to try to prevent hyponatremia. Determining sweat rate and sweat sodium content is a good first place to start. If these are high and salty, then the athlete can be predisposed to hyponatremia during long exercise sessions, especially in the heat and humidity. Once an athlete is identified as at risk or not, the shift should then be to education. The following strategies can be used as part of an athlete's nutrition plan. 1. Consume enough sodium during exercise. Many athletes do not consume enough sodium during exercise. This is not a prescription for a high sodium diet. Rather, consuming enough sodium during training or racing can be of benefit. Drink accordingly based on sweat rate. If an athlete does not know their sweat rate, general recommendations include drinking 3 to 8 ounces of sports drink every 15 to 20 minutes. Once again, I'll repeat, that's drinking 3 to 8 ounces of a sports drink every 15 to 20 minutes. If an athlete has had their sweat rate measured, then a more specific fluid and sodium plan can be made. Avoid overdrinking. Athletes must adhere to their fluid and sodium intake plan that has been predetermined, and they must understand that the importance of drinking too much. Gaining weight during exercise is a sure warning sign of excessive drinking. Limit prehydration with just water. This can lower blood sodium before the event begins and already puts the athlete behind in their sodium intake plan. Eat high salt foods or drinks with higher amounts of sodium just before training or racing. This one is really important, so I'm going to repeat it once again. Limit prehydration with just water. This can lower blood sodium before the event begins and already puts the athlete behind in their sodium intake plan. Eat high salt foods or drinks with higher amounts of sodium just before training or racing. Don't overdrink after training or competition. At-risk athletes should get into the habit of weighing before and after exercise to determine their fluid needs. Aim to drink 24 ounces of sodium-rich fluid or foods high in sodium along with water for every pound lost during the event. Again, I'll repeat that. Aim to drink 24 ounces of sodium-rich fluid or foods high in sodium along with water for every pound lost during the event. Knowing the inherent risks and symptoms of hyponatremia is important for endurance athletes. Identifying if you are at risk for becoming hyponatremic is extremely important, so proper implementation strategies can be developed based on sweat rate and sodium loss. This lesson on hyponatremia is really important in working with our world-class skaters and those that work in the hot sun or tropical environments. Paying attention to the signs and symptoms can help your skaters to prevent problems and cramping, as well as enabling them to finish races that they have not been able to do in the past. I hope that you've enjoyed this short lesson on hyponatremia and that this will help you in your coaching profession. Stay tuned for more upcoming video lessons on subjects to help educate and develop your skating programs. This is Joe Hanna for the International Speed Coaches Association. Good luck and great skating.